What's up, everybody? It's your guy, King A.D.S. I'm back again, here in the Inland Empire, and always here to connect with you. It's so good to be back. Happy Friday if you're getting this video on a Friday. I don't know when anyone will see this, whatever day it is. Happy whatever day it is. You know what I'm saying? If it's your birthday, happy birthday. You know what I'm saying? I say it with the old school F, but happy birthday. You know what I'm saying? So, but nevertheless, I'm back again. Don't know how this video is gonna go. I never really do. It's like not my goal to be like the number one influencer or content creator, but more or less using the technology for what is initially designed to do. If I got a camera, I could reach out, I can connect. And so I'm here to do that. I'm a music guy first and foremost. You know what I'm saying? Check out everything I do. I also do these vlog talks and things like that from time to time, and just try to do something interesting or amusing or something, what I'm saying, just to get up here and touch bases with you, though, to let you know that I'm real and I actually exist and it's not AI, and that I am someone who's genuine out here in the field trying to push something along with a message whenever I could add it. You know what I'm saying? So it's so nice to have you with me today. I hope everything is going great. Shouts to all the people that's grinding. The beginning of this year is already kicking off, and I feel a more positive note. I'm hoping that that carries over, that vibration carries over into anything that you're doing in your circle, or getting those squares lit and stepped on, and everything's going good and back in order. So I'm hoping for the highest and the best. Always wish the best for everybody out here that's trying to make something happen. You know what I'm saying? It's never all about me. It's about all of us together, and that's what makes the world twirl, what makes the wheel spin, and each one teach one, one to lean on, one to grow on and show on and so on. But nevertheless, we all could do better. You know what I'm saying? Teach a man to fish kind of thing. Teach a person how to fish, right? Along with updates, though, things that have been taking place, had like my first client of the year and first few serious calls of the year. So that made me a bit more positive. As I had mentioned before, some things seemed a little wobbly and upside down and warbly, and who knows what the future holds. Like I also had mentioned, but for now it's on a positive note, it seems, so I like that. And I had mentioned before, there were some things I was dealing with. I neglected my hair. As you can see, the crop is all done. I'll probably have to redo a few parts of it because I had neglected it so much for so long, because I was simply trying to get material recorded. I was trying to mix material. I was trying to come up with some kind of graphics here and there. I was trying to connect with people, and I was trying to promote music. I was trying to get some business going. It was just so much going on. And then the holidays hit and everything. So it got real wild out there. I know there's some people out there that was the same, saying we're along for that roller coaster ride, buckle up, right? So I strapped in, and yeah, man, got the whiplash along the way. And but I had a good time. And but I mentioned some things. But as you can see, though, there was some dues to pay. I had to cut out 2 locks. I lost a lock there. You can see how matted up it got there. It started dreading up and everything. So I had to cut about 2 locks out, and that's why I'll have to adjust some things. Unfortunate there, but I was very determined to get to these goals. You know what I mean? And I just had no time in between to get a moment in edgewise. So I finally had the time to do it and everything. And on top of that, when I was mentioning, I don't know if you do watch me, I was mentioning how I was going through some dental stuff, or something that was going on in my mouth, where the side of my face was swollen and everything. It was real painful. It was awful. Had gum irritation, all this stuff. Well, some interesting, weird stuff did happen. I felt like there was something in there, and then one day I felt it poke through the surface of the lining of my gums, and then eventually something did come out. And I don't know if y'all can see this, or I don't know if I'm gonna catch it on here enough, but there is something in here. Can you see that? There it is. See that? It's like a piece of bone or something. But yeah, I mean, and I read up on it, and it said that if there was an old procedure, a medical procedure, or anything that could have been done, it could be leftover material that needed to be excreted from the body and stuff like that. So I'm guessing that that's what happened. I did have my wisdom teeth pulled a long time ago, but who knows? Maybe it just happened now. I have no idea. Or it said you can have some kind of disease that happens, and I'm pretty sure I don't have any diseases. So that part I think I can rule out. But it was very interesting. I will be having a dental appointment that's coming up pretty soon. I think here next month. But um, nevertheless, just thought that was interesting. So just like I said, I'm authentic, I'm real, and I exist. So these are the things that I might mention, and I, wanted to show you some of the stuff that I had to, some of the stuff that took place. You know what I mean? And and also today, I was watching. But I should say it like this. Well, that's enough about what was going on then, right? But today I'm trying to catch up to speed. Just like I said, I don't know how the videos will go. I never know. I just like to do what I do first and foremost. But like I said, I just like to share this energy with you, this warmer energy and stuff like that with you. You know what I'm saying, to connect. And but I was watching a few things that were out there today. I think Glasses Malone was on a talk show or a podcast or something. It was an interesting topic. They were talking about what does hip hop need. Um, you know, uh, and I go further than just hip hop with what I'm wanna touch on the best I can. I can't tell you that it's gonna be amazing, but I would try. But yeah, I was talking about, do you need stars in hip hop? Um, and I think away from that, not critiquing or anything like that, but away from that in general, when we talk about a star, I feel like each person, okay, I know it's going to sound cliche and corny, but each person in their own right, in an own area of expertise or knowledge or whatever it is, they can have the opportunity to shine, right? To be a star, to be a standout. And I think that's where that terminology comes from, is more or less being a standout in general, right? Now, where stardom has been taken is a whole different thing. And I think that also comes along with when I was studying things about like business and things like that, some of the interesting information that came across that kind of expressed things to the nature of, when you create something, it's at its purest form. It's like the baby, right? And then it's born into the world. And then it meets the rest of us and takes on a life of its own, and it shifts and it evolves. Now, and so imagine how that can cascade, because that can be multiple on top of multiples of fractals of ideas and concepts, right? So if one person's concepts might be to make music, another person's concepts might be to make money, right? So we've seen that come together and then possibly run away with things like things that people talk about now. Some of the reasons I'm here, that you got to keep up with the field and the changes. Try to connect more authentically. Can you get a feel for the person? Humanize the scenario, right? Like all those things. So you get into that marketing yourself or marketing a business, but just saying marketing a product, and then that product being pushed on so many levels that people get used to seeing that standard, and then have a certain level of expectations no matter what, when people at any level could be good at something and express what they do and not get the same type of recognition. Is that possibly because of the fact that we're so used to seeing those other scenarios play out, and it kind of plays a little trick on the brain when there's been a few decades that go by and people get used to seeing those same patterns, when obviously it's not the way that it started, but it's the way that things ended up in the end. So it kind of shifts and morphs. And so I come from a time period where both was accepted. You had the people on the underground, as they were talking about it on there, and another individual, I don't know what their name is, but they were having a very good segment about discovery of underground artists and why some people are prone to overlook that. And yes, I mean, could be the patterns that people possibly get used to and then judge themselves against that said standard. But it's kind of a more standard because as the other gentleman was stating, that there used to be more of an in tight niche, almost like a speakeasy type of scenario. If you knew where it was, then you can go down to the joint. You know what I'm saying? You can get in. You know, you got the password. If you're the only one who knew because you knew about everything, you were niched in with it, then you can go and you get down with it, so on and so forth. And that community grew. But then you have the introduction to a different type of entity, different type of animal, and then that will set a different standard, a commercialized standard, when you had a more grassroots standard. So I don't know. Tell me how you think about that. Tell me how you feel about that in the comments. I'd love to have that interaction with you guys, no matter what. By the way, also, please, I definitely appreciate the support. If you're enjoying the content or enjoying my efforts in trying to make some good content, definitely smash the like button, subscribe, hype, whatever it is that you got to do. I definitely appreciate anything and all of it, all in one. It's the best feeling to be able to actually genuinely, authentically connect with you. And what else is on here? I have to write stuff down sometimes, man, because but also along with things that we get used to accepting, well, or seeing, do we start to accept certain seen behaviors, right? So what is acceptable behavior? Should those type of individuals be looked towards for the setting the standard of that said behavior, or should those things more or less, be more focused on from the house, like in your family and close knit community and stuff like that, versus, you can see how things start and how they end up, and then all of a sudden, possibly, did people start like that and then start to idolize the latter with the bigger image and so on and so forth, and look what they got, look what their lifestyles like, so on and so forth, and then begin to judge themselves against that outward type of appearance or image, or type of level of what they can get to, right? Because they have different resources and things, but the average person won't have that, and that has to be more on the humble, but still just as effective, just as great. And so that's why I would never discourage anybody from sharing their message or their music or creativity, because I've come from a time where there's a place for everything, and I still believe in that. I feel like the time that we're in now seems to be shifting towards a bit more of the acceptance back, like we're waking back up and we're saying, hey, you know what, this other stuff's cool to fish for too. I like to find that it's a bit more of a special connection, because just like back then, you would feel like, hey, I know where the secret spot is at, let's go, it's going to be live, you know what I'm saying? So now, then as things went on, people could find like a artist that they really like, and a lot of people didn't know about them, but they were like, yo, these people are dope, and they would just bump that. And so just like Glasses Malone said, like some of his favorite artists aren't like well-known artists, you know what I'm saying? So it's nice to hear some people keep their feet on the ground, roots about them, you know what I'm saying, and not just get swept away by the commercialized machine, you know what I'm saying? Because if eventually things kind of do become a systematic machine, it works in a process, it kind of cookie cutters a certain process of development in order to give you what they can base off analytics, you know what I'm saying, which shows that there's been such a process that is that gift over there versus the gift of someone else's creativity, which is a very a very what do you call it, a intimate connection, more of an intimate connection in some ways, right? So like, but I'm very curious. There's other things I just had to touch on because it got me thinking. So I'm like, let me try to attempt to get up on here and articulate, you know what I'm saying? So let me see, let's see. Yeah, like, because those things could, like, should those things, like the other standards, also trying to live, does it cause people to start trying to envision a life that someone else has? Does it make certain personalities only see their own shortcomings and start to not idolize, but also try to live vicariously through some of these people when they reach a certain level of success and do something that maybe they don't agree with? Maybe this particular, let's just say an artist wouldn't expect to be at that level of success, but somehow they have commercialized hits or something, and now people think they should be acting a certain way in a particular light, or is that someone actually projecting what they equalities that maybe they would like to see in themselves onto someone else in that position? Like, this is what I would do. In other words, kind of imaginatively living vicariously through other scenarios that are very much orchestrated and put together in such a way that it can just divert what you pay attention to so much that you don't see everything that's more common from from ground zero, from the jump. And so but I do believe that we're in a time where that's coming back into play. Like I've seen a lot of people. I remember I was talking with the fam years ago, like back in what 2016, like talking about, hey, there's going to be a cultural shift possibly, so just keep doing what you do, but leave no stone unturned. You know what I'm saying? Because there will be a time where people get bombarded and will go back to it will, in other words, the popularity and everything will reach its peak, and then most likely will have to either plateau or start to drop. And then people from there, when the hype's all gone, all the auto tune is too played out and the sound is too played out, and the repetition is too much, and people will start going back to their old toys, which were just fine, and have a lot more options. Because as I've expressed in other videos, people love options. Human beings need options. You know what I'm saying? Like there should always be a lot of good options out there. Maybe this time you want to try something different, and if it meets the standard and function of what you're trying to achieve, then hey, that's a win. So I'm always a fan of having options. Having everybody have to be aspiring to be the top of everything, I feel like that's kind of a farce. You know what I'm saying? More inevitably, the bigger you get, the more resources you need, and eventually when it gets too big, it starts to consume whole areas, and it actually minuses the same people that you're trying to get to support it. It kind of is a double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? Kind of sucks up the resources and leaves a lot of people out. Versus only some. You know what I'm saying? Some people could find a place within some level of the structure for themselves. But when you start to get too big, I've noticed that it kind of like sucks up the resources of the area or whatever field that's in, and it kind of like puts a lot of other people on the outs, which I think is a disadvantage. Because like you have your right to make your own choices out here and support what vibes with you. You know what I'm saying? So we need those things out here instead of having something just shoved down our throat or in our line of sight only because it's going to meet a bottom line or some sort of other agenda for someone else who could fork money towards another person's bottom line. And then that's what we end up getting, instead of something that's actually coming from the heart and really meant. And so if it resonates. Now, I'm not talking, like I always say, I'm not talking about crazy stuff. I'm talking about positive, constructive stuff. You know what I'm saying? But of course, no matter what, we're human beings. It's gonna be wild. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a trip. You know what I'm saying? So, nevertheless, but yeah, man, just wanted to let me see if there's anything else. Just yeah, you know what? I think that's enough for this video, man. I just wanted to get up here. I try to be, also be constructive and just do something that's a little more interesting, a different perspective, touching on something I'm curious about, or something that's interesting or weird or entertaining, whichever way, you know what I'm saying? But just want to get back up here and spend some quality time with you. Be on the lookout. I will be dropping a few more videos, some music, stuff like that. So I always love to have you, good company, along for the ride. You guys are awesome. I definitely check out a lot of musicians, a lot of artists, material while I'm out here networking. Um, Definitely love the interaction and time that I get with you, no matter what. I hope it's the same, vice versa. And to the next episode, to the next video episode, whatever you want to call it. Stay great, stay productive, stay shining bright, and doing what you love to do, and stand out the most. Just keep on shining. All right, y'all. Take care. To the next one. Peace.